My name is Patsy Surh O'Connell. Uh, if I say just Patsy O'Connell, many people assume that I should be Irish. So I put my maiden name, Surh, Surh, in the middle to use it as my maiden name and my painting name as a Saw. I am from Korea, but I was born in China when my parents were refugee from the Japanese occupation of Korean Peninsula in 1910. They lived in China for a long time before we all came out after the end of the World War II and the Japanese occupation decided to go back to Japan, and that's 1945. In the midst of getting settled in 1945 to 1950, and as you all know, the Korean Forgotten War started in 1950. In 1953, we were in Busan. That's the tip of the harbor city of a Korean peninsula. And we moved up to go back to the Seoul, which is the capital of Korea. And I finished high school there. And when I was in senior, my father was in the United States. He promised me that I will be studying in the United States. So I was gratefully not taking the entrance exam of university like all my friends did. And I waited for him to invite me to the United States, but in fact, it didn't happen. He came back to Korea, and I was determined to come to United States. So I learned how to do the typing, and I got a job, and I worked a year when my father finally told me that I received I-20 form from San Francisco Interior Design School, Rudolph Schaefer School of Design. And so I came to United States 1963, September 4th. And I arrived. My auntie was in San Francisco, so I stayed with her a year. And then I met my friend, and I moved out from my auntie's house and lived with my friend. She happened to live in Puyallup, so we have known each other for over 56 years. So the friendship is so important, and older friends that I treasure is always showing in my paintings as well as a symbol. So this is another one. My works are inspired by my imagination, and when I hear a certain music and certain things that I see that connects to my brain to inspire to put that in the paintings. So I have done my paintings in the way that sketches first, and then that sketch is transferred into a rice paper. And the rice paper is a sized, and yet it's a transparency, make me to transfer my images into the rice paper. And then I put that in ink, the Chinese ink that I use. And this particular painting you see is done with the ink first, and then I washed the sepia tone is actually a strong tea that I use as a overall wash. So the whole paper is washed with the strong tea to achieve some antique look to it. And then I apply the white, Chinese white. It's opaque, and you try to put it on so that it's not just a flat opaque, but instead it will give some three-dimensional effect to it. So I did this particular one as I described underneath, that did it specially for Senator Rosa Franklin when she was retiring from the legislature. And she has been a great supporter for the Asia Pacific Cultural Center. And I wanted to honor that. And she now has the honorary title of Auntie. This one is a full sheet of 62 inches long and 31-inch wide. And also it is on the gongbi paper, which is what I described, a rice paper, which is sized. And this particular day that I thought of doing the painting was showing that I was homesick. I am originally from Korea, and I wanted to show that I can just fly to Korea from here. So this is the Puget Sound. Looking out far distance is the Pacific Ocean. And the crow is myself. And I use crow quite often as a model because crow is very adaptable to any situation and very strong survivor in the environment we live in. So I use the crow as myself flying to Korea. Thank you.